Once you're in the top view calibration screen, you'll need to load the 4 .bin files that you copied earlier. To do this, click Open and select the output folder that you copied those files to. You'll notice that the 4 .bin files now appear here. You can cycle through each one of them to see the images that were captured from the 4 cameras. I mentioned earlier in the introductory video that the calibration software takes images from the 4 cameras and stitches them together to create the 360-degree view around the vehicle. In order to do this, we need to mark the inside corners of each pad. Let's take a look at the front.bin file to illustrate this in more detail. As you can see, we have the 2 calibration pads in this image. We need to mark the inside corners of each pad. So what that means is the 4 corners that face in. Here's a demonstration on how to mark the corners of the calibration pad. We'll start with the front camera's left pad. To mark the calibration pads, first you'll need to zoom into the image using the zoom button. You can use left click to zoom in, right click to zoom out on your mouse. Once I'm done zooming in, I will unselect the zoom button and using my left mouse key, click on the 2 inside facing corners. If you make a mistake, you can click and drag the markers to the proper location, or if you want, you can click the initialize button to reset the markers and start over. Once I've done the left calibration pad, I'm going to perform the same procedure on the right calibration pad. I can use the pan button to pan the image over to the right pad. Once I'm done panning, I can unselect the pan button. And again, using my left mouse key, I will mark the corners of the calibration pads that face in. Once I'm done marking my 4 corners, I can zoom out to get a better view of the image and click on Get Control Point to save the calibration. You'll notice that once we get the control point for the front camera, a checkbox appears indicating that the front camera is complete. Next, repeat the same procedure for the rear, left, and right cameras. Once you've done all 4 cameras, click Calibration and Save to move to the next step. You'll notice that once you calibrate and save the 4 cameras, you'll see the individual camera images on the left and a top-down image of the vehicle on the right. If you switch back to the vehicle pattern information and change your pixel pitch, look what happens when you switch back to top view calibration and you click Calibration and Save one more time. The top-down image changes. This is the same image you would see on the in-cab display in the vehicle. In the next tab, you can perform an individual tuning of the left and right camera images. So let's start by inputting the image or loading the image. Click on the Input Image button. Here, select the output folder again. Once you've selected the output folder, you will see the left and right camera images. Here you can adjust the left and right camera images by controlling the amount of roll, the horizontal and vertical scale of the image, so this stretches the image, as well as the horizontal and vertical positioning. Notice that any changes you make in the adjustment screen also shows up in the preview screen here. Once you've tuned your left and right camera images, click Apply and then Save and move to the next tab, which is the individual tuning for the front and rear cameras. So just like before, open your images by clicking the Input Image button, navigate to the Output folder, just select Folder, and you will see the front and rear image appear. Once you've tuned both the front and the rear image, click Apply and Save, and move to the next step, which is Parking Guidelines. Once you're here, click the Parking Line button to load the rear camera image. The purpose of this step is to adjust the parking lines, which appear on your in-cab monitor when you put the vehicle in reverse. So to adjust your parking lines, you can use the X adjustment to adjust the parking lines horizontally and the Y adjustment to adjust the parking lines vertically. Conversely, you can use the up, down, left, and right buttons on the bottom to do the same thing. Once you've set your parking lines to the desired location, click Save, and your guidelines will be saved. And the final step in the calibration process is to save your files so that you can transfer them back to the ECU. You'll notice that there are two save buttons, an NT save and an ST save. NT, which stands for normal top, is for when you want to use a View 1 format for your 360 image. ST, which stands for side top, is for when you want to use View 2 or landscape mode for your 360 image. To save your files, you need to ensure that your SD card is inserted into your computer. Then click either NT or ST save. In my case, I will select NT save and navigate to the location of your SD card and click Select Folder. The system will save the files to the card. Once that's complete, you can verify the contents of the card by opening up Windows Explorer and navigating to the SD card directory. There you'll see all the calibration files necessary to transfer back to the ECU. Just a note of warning, you cannot save both a View 1 and View 2 format on your SD card. If you choose both NT save and ST save, that can potentially corrupt the files on the SD card and prevent the images from being displayed on the monitor. Once you transfer the SD card back to the ECU and power up the device, you should see the configuration menu. Using your remote control, select Calibration, and the system should download the calibration files from the SD card. Once all the files are downloaded from the SD card, you should see the 360 image of the vehicle, as well as the front, left, rear, and right camera. You can cycle through the camera images using the remote control, and if you put the vehicle in reverse, you'll notice that the parking lines appear. If we're happy with the images, then the qualification stage is complete and we can move on to installing the components to the vehicle. If we're not happy with the images on the in-cab display, then we will need to reposition the cameras and run through the calibration process once again.